The Forsaken Heir. Previous episodes are available on playlist. A link is given in the video description. Episode 8. When the two returned home, neither of the women was at home. The mother-in-law Elaine went to the chess and card room to play mahjong before returning, and Claire did not get off work. So Charlie went back to the bedroom first and took the lightning striker out of the box. A strong aura came out from the lightning strike. Charlie sat cross-legged on the ground, placed the lightning strike wood in his palm, closed his eyes slightly, and the 9 profound heavenly secrets mental method was running in his body, slowly sucking spiritual energy into his body. When he opened his eyes were exquisite and his aura changed drastically. The blood dragon thunderbolt wood in his hand is already a little dim. But even if it loses aura, it still has some strong thunderous breath, which is considered a treasure. If supported by other treasures, Charlie could now use it to refine some simple magical artifacts. When he came out of the room, it was already night. As soon as he arrived in the living room, Charlie heard his mother-in-law snorted coldly and said, "Now that the shelf is big and I don't have any food, wait for me to serve you, right?" Charlie smiled wryly and explained, "Sorry Mom, I was so tired this afternoon and fell asleep." "Hey, did going to the auction exhaust you? Or did Harold exhaust you?" Elaine said angrily. Charlie was shocked, then shook his head and said, "I didn't pit Harold. Where did you hear the news?" Elaine snorted coldly, and said, "Of course the Lady Wilson called and said, 'You don't have to be embarrassed,' and Harold was kicked out. The Lady Wilson called and scolded me. She said you are rubbish. Can you cause less trouble for the family?" Claire said from the side, "Mom, I think Harold was kicked out. He must have caused some trouble himself. It has nothing to do with Charlie. Charlie is not like that." "Why not?" Elaine threw her chopsticks angrily. "Harold filed a complaint after he came back, saying that because Charlie got the invitation letter by improper means, after being found out, Treasure was offended and he was a member of the Wilson family. One of them was also kicked out, and the owner of the Treasure Pavilion was still talking. The Wilson family is not allowed to go in the future, they will break their legs if they dare to. The family is embarrassed this time." Jacob said at this time, "Hey. The invitation letter is fundamentally problematic. I think Harold must have caused the trouble himself, and he was afraid that his mother would punish him, so he deliberately dumped the pot on Charlie. You're still here to help this wimpy talk. If you didn't want to go to that auction, can these things happen?" Elaine glared at Jacob and cursed. Jacob hurriedly shut up for dinner, not daring to make a sound. Elaine said impatiently, "He is a waste. What can he have in getting the invitation letter? And now he has offended Harold. I see how he ends up." Before she finished speaking, there was a knock on the door, followed by a low voice. "Excuse me, is Mr. Charlie at home?" Elaine's face was tense, and she glared at Charlie angrily. "Oops, it must be the Lady Wilson who came. It depends on what you did. Let's take a look first. Claire also looked solemn, stood up and walked towards the door. There was no sound in the living room. Elaine and Jacob both stood up nervously, thinking about how to respond. Charlie's face was slightly dark. If the Lady Wilson turned black and white and brought someone to the door to ask the crime, then he wouldn't have to give the Lady Wilson face. Claire opened the door carefully, and asked vigilantly, "What's the matter with you?" Charlie frowned, walked to the door with a stride, pulled Claire behind him calmly, and said coldly to the people outside, "You are looking for me." A middle-aged man in a straight suit suddenly smiled respectfully after seeing him. "You are Mr. Charlie, right? I am the new manager of Treasure Pavilion and I just took office this afternoon." Charlie looked at the people in surprise. "Are you from the Treasures Pavilion?" "Treasures Pavilion?" Claire, who was standing behind him, was also stunned. The man hurriedly said, "Our pavilion master deeply felt self-blame for Mr. Charlie's departure. He drove out Harold, who was in the middle of the matter, on the spot, and also suspended the auction. Treasure Pavilion was not well received. We came here in hope Mr. Charlie can forgive us regardless of the previous troubles." After speaking, the middle-aged man waved his hand behind him. Several strong men in black immediately carried gifts and put them at the door. Charlie glanced, and saw that there were so many gifts. A box of limited edition Yellow Crane Tower and a box of 30-year-old Mutai liquor. There is also a pair of antique vases from the Ming Dynasty and a set of tortoiseshell. These gifts are worth over $1 million. "Mr. Charlie, this is the mistake of Treasures Pavilion. The owner of the pavilion is preparing for a new auction with Ms. Song, so he can't come by himself, so he asked me to apologize, saying that he will apologize to you personally when he has the opportunity. Please forgive us." After finishing speaking, the middle-aged man bowed deeply in front of Charlie. Charlie nodded and said, "Okay, put things down." The middle-aged man then took out 2 golden invitation letters from his pocket, handed them to Charlie respectfully, and continued, "This is an invitation letter for the new auction. Please come there with Mr. Wilson. This time I promise I won't let you down again. Please give us a chance to make up for it." After speaking, he explained, "There is also a special Treasures Pavilion Royal VIP card. We only issued 10 of these cards, which are valid for life. You can enjoy the highest courtesy when you come to Treasures Pavilion." Charlie glanced at the VIP card. The surface of the card was golden, with gold leaf and diamonds. He said lightly, "I am not very interested in auctions. Ask my dad if he is interested." "Okay." The middle-aged man hurriedly held the card to Jacob, and said with a smile, "Old Mr. Wilson, I'm really sorry today. Please be sure to visit us the day after tomorrow." This Jacob has calmed down from the shock, glanced at the VIP card, and couldn't help swallowing his throat. He recognized that this is a limited-level VIP card of the Treasures Pavilion, which is only issued to members of the cabinet with status, and not for sale at all. Those who have this VIP card can enter and exit the treasure pavilion freely, and enjoy the highest treatment. All the antiques in the pavilion can be enjoyed at will, and there are also high discounts for purchase. Jacob couldn't refuse such a temptation. Just about to accept it cheeky, a hand suddenly stretched out from the side and snatched both VIP cards. It was Charlie's mother-in-law, Elaine, grabbing 2 VIP cards with a smile, and she was so happy that she said, "Since you are here to apologize, I will reluctantly accept these gifts and VIP cards. The auction will be the day after tomorrow. My husband will come." Elaine was so excited. These gifts are all money. She doesn't know how much the antique is worth, but that box of collection-grade Moutai is worth 30,000 or 40,000, and this box of 20 bottles is hundreds of thousands. There are also collections of Yellow Crane Tower cigarettes, one of 5,000, one box of 50, more than 200,000, the two together are worth 1 million. Don't do it for anything. And holding these 2 VIP cards, she still has the capital to show off in front of those old girlfriends. When Claire saw Elaine's obsessive attitude, she called helplessly, "Mom!" Elaine glared at her, "What's wrong? Can't I accept gifts from others?" Claire said, "I mean it shouldn't be accepted. You haven't figured out what's going on. How can you accept such a heavy gift from others?" Charlie said lightly at this time, "This is an apologetic gift and should be accepted." The middle-aged man was relieved. Before coming out, the pavilion master had personally explained that if Mr. Charlie confiscated these things, then he would not have to go back. Charlie turned his head and saw that Elaine had moved the tobacco and alcohol into the house with joy, holding a pair of antique vases and touching and looking under the lamp. He could only shake his head in his heart and said to the middle-aged man, "Thank you for this. See you. Well, I won't bother you anymore, Mr. Charlie." Charlie closed the door, turned around, but was taken aback for a moment, and said, "You guys are all watching what I'm doing." He saw 3 people in the living room, all 6 eyes were on him. The mother-in-law Elaine gave a dry cough and a smirk, and asked, "Charlie, when did you have friendship with Treasure Pavilion? Why did they come to our house to give gifts and apologize?" Charlie shook his head and said, "Mom, you have misunderstood. I have no friendship with them. The reason why they came to apologize is mainly because the service attitude of Treasures is good. Their employees have made mistakes, and the boss has a better reputation, so they compensate so strongly." Elaine was frustrated at once, pulling her face down, and said, "I thought you were a good man, and you could be in favor of big shots. I didn't expect it was because of the good service attitude of others." Claire was a little confused on the side. The other party gave such an expensive gift, is it just because of the good service attitude and wanted to compensate Charlie? However, after receiving a lot of gifts, Elaine felt better, and finally stopped targeting Charlie, thinking happily in her heart to quickly sell the tobacco and alcohol first. After eating, Charlie cleaned up the dishes in the kitchen, and suddenly received a call. The one who called was Qin Gang, who had a relationship with both sides. That jade bracelet was given by Qin Gang. On the phone, Qin Gang respectfully said, "Mr. Wade." Charlie said lightly, "Something." Qin Gang hurriedly said, "Thanks to Mr. Charlie's last guidance, the Qin family has been doing a lot in the past few days, and I have to thank Mr. Charlie for his guidance, otherwise our Qin family will be in a disaster." Charlie said indifferently, "I think it's not so smooth, right? If it's so smooth, would you call me now?" Qin Gang choked and laughed awkwardly. "Mr. Charlie really knows everything like a god. I can't hide anything from you." Charlie smiled lightly, without saying a word. Sure enough, Qin Gang trembled and said, "Mr. Charlie, please save my Qin family one more time. We will remember it all our lives." His face was pale, and his body trembled slightly, as if in great fear. Charlie frowned and asked faintly, "Is the jade cracked?" "Mr. Charlie is worthy of being a master, and you are right again." Qin Gang's voice was extremely pious, and he sighed, "Originally, I followed your instructions and confessed the jade plug, and ordered the people in the family to be vegetarian for 7 days without seeing the blood. How can I think that my stupid nephew Stephen secretly ate some stewed pigeon soup, and accidentally stained the pigeon blood on the jade plug? The jade plug immediately fell apart. I beat him up and shut it down. At home, strange things still happening." Charlie frowned and asked, "What strange thing happened?" Qin Gang hurriedly said, "Last night was violent and rainy. A thunder struck the courtyard, scorching a century-old osmanthus tree. Not only that, the tablets of the Qin family's ancestors enshrined in the ancestral hall fell to the ground for no reason and fell in half. This is a horrible omen." Charlie frowned. From the perspective of Feng Shui, planting osmanthus trees in the courtyard is a symbol of wealth and good fortune. However, the laurel tree was knocked down by the thunder, which indicates that the Qin family will be broken. The ancestral tablet was broken, which was a sign that the Qin family would die. He really didn't expect that the evil spirit of this jade plug was so heavy. It was so serious that it exceeded his estimate. It could reach the sky with pigeon blood. Hearing no reply from Charlie, Qin Gang beat a drum in his heart and pleaded, "Although my Qin family is in business, but I have always been kind to people and have not done anything to harm the world. I beg Mr. Wade to save my family." Charlie said, "Qin Gang, it's not that I didn't save you, but the evil spirit was too heavy. After being carried by Stephen for many years, the evil spirit had already enveloped the Qin family courtyard. It was impossible to deal with it with ordinary runes. Then, what should we do? The Qin family has suffered such a disaster. It is really unfortunate for the family." Qin Gang sighed, his voice trembling. Charlie groaned, "The evil spirit will be more fierce when it sees blood, and it is still hot pigeon blood. Now to suppress such a heavy evil spirit, I am afraid that we can only borrow the power of the heaven and earth treasure. Okay, Mr. Wade needs something. Even if I lose my fortune, I will definitely get it. Charlie said indifferently, well, I happen to be participating in the auction of Treasure Pavilion tomorrow. I will go to the auction to see if there are any spiritual objects of heaven and earth. As for whether they can be photographed, it depends on your luck. Okay, forgive me for troubling you, Mr. Wade. Qin Gang, as if caught the straw, repeatedly thanked Charlie. After speaking, he hurriedly said, Mr. Charlie, I will send you a premium card tomorrow. If there is any place where you need money, just swipe the card. Charlie snorted. After all, he was helping the Qin family, and he couldn't let himself spend money. Immediately, Charlie said, You'd better be mentally prepared. Heaven and earth spirit treasures are not so easy to get, but they can't be found. As for whether there is an auction, it depends on your Qin family's luck. Qin Gang kept expressing his position, yes, I will also inquire more privately, but I still have to trouble you. After the accident, he also sought out a number of well-known feng shui masters, but those people just glanced at the door of Qin's house, and immediately waved their hands and turned aside. Now Qin Gang's only hope of life-saving lies in Charlie. Charlie really sighed in his heart. According to numerology, Qin Gang should have done no harm in his life, and should have died safely. How can he think of God's will to make Stephen, a dead star in the family, makes the family restless? If he does not save him, within a year, his family will be destroyed. Not only him and that Stephen, but also his beautiful little chilly beauty Aoxu, they all will die. The next day, Qin Gang came to Charlie's downstairs early in the morning. He waited until Charlie came out to buy vegetables before he greeted him and handed Charlie a premium card. According to him, there are hundreds of millions in this card. In order to save the Qin family, even Charlie can spend all the money. Little Chili Aoxu is also there, but this time Aoxu is not as arrogant as last time. Seeing Charlie, Aoxu looked respectful. Since Stephen got into trouble, the Qin family has encountered a lot of bad things, and the old master's body has also deteriorated for no reason, and he is dying. He then understands that the only one who can save them is Mr. Charlie. After Qin Gang handed the card to Charlie, he knelt in front of Charlie with a puff, and pleaded with tears, Mr. Wade, please save my Qin family's life any way possible. It doesn't matter if I die, but my daughter's still young. Aoxu couldn't help but reddened her eyes, knelt on the ground, crying and said, Mr. Wade, please save the Qin family. If possible, I am willing to use my own life in exchange for my father's longevity. Qin Gang said angrily, what are you talking nonsense? Charlie shook his head helplessly, and stretched out his hand to help the two of them up one by one. When Aoxu touched his hand pleading, the little girl's soft and white hands made Charlie uneasy. After helping the two of them, Aoxu blushed a little, and seemed very embarrassed. Charlie said, "Don't worry, I will try my best to make your family survive this catastrophe safely." The father and daughter were so touched that they wanted to kneel again, but they were stopped by Charlie. "Okay, those who are kneeling here will have a bad influence. Let's go first. I'll let you know if I have news." "Thank you, Mr. Wade." The father and daughter left with gratitude. When Charlie returned home after buying vegetables, the old master Jacob hurried forward and said nervously, "Charlie, I just saw you and Chin Gang talking outside the community." "Yes, he has something to do with me." Jacob couldn't help but said, "I think he looks ugly, it doesn't seem like something is good." "Did you tell his fortune last time and there was a problem?" This matter, Jacob has been worried, always feel that Charlie is just talking about it. Charlie smiled and said, "Dad, Chin Gang came to me to help him get rid of the evil spirits at home. He also gave me a bank card and asked me to help him see if it can be used at the auction tomorrow." Jacob stayed for a while and said quickly, "How much does he give you?" Charlie said casually, "Several $100 million. "How many?" Jacob's eyes widened, and he was so shocked that he was holding his chest and could not speak. He was almost out of breath. He was anxious to hold Charlie. "Charlie, you must not lie to people. The Chin family gives you so much money, if something goes wrong, wouldn't the Chin family kill our whole family? Give the money back." "Dad, don't worry, I have a sense of measure and there will be no problems." After speaking, Charlie said again, "Dad, this time the matter is of great importance, you'd better not tell Claire and Mom, otherwise, it will be out of control." I know. Jacob knew his prodigal wife too well. This girl is just a lunatic who wants money and he can't say anything to her. If she finds that there were hundreds of millions in this card, she wouldn't care about the Chin family and spend the money first. That's hundreds of millions. When Jacob thought of this number, his heart jumped suddenly, and he persuaded Charlie for a while. After seeing that the persuasion had no effect, he had to sit on the sofa and sigh. He didn't believe that Charlie had the ability to help the Chin family solve the problem, and now he was afraid that Charlie would spend the money of the Chin family indiscriminately, and finally be settled by the Chin family. Now, he can only stare at Charlie at the auction, and don't let him buy things randomly. If the Chin family was cheated of so much money, wouldn't the other party come after the family? Early the next morning, Charlie was going to the auction. Because of the Chin family's affairs, Jacob was so worried that he hadn't slept well all night, so he repeatedly told him in the living room. Charlie said a few perfunctory words, and then asked, "Dad, I heard that there is a final treasure at the auction of Treasures Pavilion, right?" "Yes." Jacob didn't know why, and said, "I heard it is a valuable treasure, unparalleled in the world." After he finished speaking, he suddenly thought of something, and he hurriedly pulled Charlie and told him, "My son-in-law, don't make the idea of this final treasure. Its starting price is tens of millions. Let's take a look." Charlie knew that his father-in-law was worried that he would use the Chin family's money, so he smiled and said, "Dad, you are right. That's good." Jacob was afraid that he would not give up, and added, "But even if you want to shoot, you don't have your share." "Why?" "I went out to inquire about it yesterday. I heard that Boss Yu from Suanzhaitang was also here at this auction, and he was here for this final treasure." Charlie said in surprise, "Suanzhaitang is also here. This mysterious hall is unknown to no one. Its owner, Mr. Jing Hai, is a famous feng shui master in the country. Many celebrities in Hong Kong have spent a lot of money in line to ask him for fortune-telling. If you want to ask this feng shui master to look at the photos, the cost of one time is not low, all start at 7 figures. If a celebrity wants to buy a magic weapon from Suanzhaitang, it will be even more expensive. However, although the fees of Suanzhaitang are expensive, it is said that there are absolutely real materials. This is located in the iron mouth and bronze teeth of Mr. Jing Hai. Fortune-telling is particularly accurate. He once predicted to a reporter from Hong Kong that 2 well-known celebrities would be divorced in November this year. At that time, the 2 big stars had just finished their wedding. They were so affectionate that the whole country booed at his prediction. And in November, the 2 celebrities each posted on Instagram and announced the divorce notice. From then on, the name of Suanzhaitang spread throughout the country, making people who want to see Master more like a crucian carp. When people in the entertainment circle mentioned Mr. Jing Hai, they were also in awe. The head office of Xianji is in Hong Kong City, and the owner spent a lot of money to buy a floor in Central Plaza, which shows his pockets. Unexpectedly, Boss Jing Hai would also come to participate in the auction. It seems that this treasure is inevitable. So Charlie asked curiously, "What is this final treasure?" "Then I don't know, we just can't buy it anyway." Jacob was still nagging. Charlie's cell phone rang suddenly. He picked up the phone and heard Warnya's voice. "Mr. Charlie, my car is parked at your door. Let me pick you up on the way." Warnya was also afraid that something would happen at this reception, so she planned to follow Charlie and go with him. Charlie walked out and saw a big red Bentley parked on the side of the road, with a brand new body gleaming in the sun. Warnya leaned against the car, wearing a bright red tight dress to set off the exquisite curves, wavy curly hair draped over her shoulders, charming, and wearing a pair of sun-shading sunglasses on her face. Warnya saw the 2 come out, took off her sunglasses, and said, "Uncle Wilson, Mr. Charlie, I'm going to the Auction of Treasures Pavilion, and I am here to pick you up." "Oh, it's Miss Song." Jacob recognized her too, and said flattered, "Miss Song, you are so polite." "Yes, you too, please get in the car." Warnya nodded politely and opened the door. Who can believe that Warnya, the eldest of the Song family, took the initiative to open the door for a son-in-law? Soon, the car drove to the exhibition center. The Convention and Exhibition Center is a circular dome building. The outer circle is filled with shops selling flowers and birds, and the auction room is in the middle. The Convention and Exhibition Center, newly built last year, is magnificent and antique. Charlie followed Warnia and took the landscape glass elevator to the top of the 6th floor. As soon as the elevator door opened, an artistic exhibition hall suddenly appeared in front. Antique calligraphy and paintings hung on the surrounding walls. This is the auction house. The auction table in the front is covered with a red carpet, and there are all sofa decks under the stage. The table is filled with foreign wines and fresh fruits for guests to enjoy. Compared with the last auction, it can be seen that Treasure's Pavilion has made a lot of effort this time. Just leasing and arranging the venue, it has spent nearly $1 million. Warnia's box was in the middle of the front row, and a group of people was about to move forward, but suddenly heard a noise behind them. Charlie only had time to turn his head, and was pushed from behind by a few people and was forced to step aside. He frowned slightly and watched as a group of people came in through the passage. It was a few bodyguards who opened the way. "Mr. Jinghai is here too," Warnia exclaimed softly, looking up at the crowd. The people who squeezed in were all distinguished guests attending the auction, but at the moment they were all surrounded by a middle-aged man with a cold and arrogant face wearing a blue cloth gown, with an extremely respectful look. Charlie took a look and said, "It turns out that this is Mr. Jinghai, but this posture is quite good." Mr. Jinghai was hugged by the crowd and walked forward. He drew out a light yellow triangle rune and handed it to the most complimented boss beside him. He said indifferently, "Today you and I are destined. This peace symbol is free. It can keep you safe and prosperous." "Thank you, Mr. Jinghai." The boss was full of surprises, flattered, took the peace talisman, carried it into his arms like a treasure, and said to the people around, "Mr. Jinghai's peace talisman is very good. I have been asking for it every year, thanks to the past few years. Mr. Jinghai, my business is getting bigger and bigger." The surrounding crowd looked jealous. Some cheeky begged Mr. Jinghai, but Mr. Jinghai ignored them. The assistant next to Mr. Jinghai snorted and said to the crowd, "Do you think that Mr. Jinghai's peace charms can be obtained if you want? The minimum cost of asking for peace charms in our mysterious hall is 200,000 for each." The crowd recovered, and someone shouted immediately, "It's rare for Master Jinghai to come to Oris Hill City. I would like to give out 200,000 for a peace talisman, and Master Jinghai will give it. I want to buy it too. Ask Master Jinghai to give me a charm. Mr. Jinghai's peace talisman is hard to find. 200,000 is nothing, I will buy 5. The scene was very lively, and many bosses transferred deposits on the spot to buy Master Wade's peace symbol. "Line up, one by one." The assistant registered them one by one impatiently, and the scene was very hot. Charlie couldn't help but said, "What kind of peace talisman is so expensive? It's too easy to make money." His voice is not loud, but Mr. Jinghai suddenly raised his head and stared at him with frowning brows. Mr. Jinghai pushed away from the crowd, strode to Charlie, took a look and said, "You friend, listen to your tone, do you have an opinion on my safety charm?" Charlie said lightly, "I don't think this is worth so much money." Someone in the crowd immediately said, "You know what is wrong. Mr. Jinghai's talisman, 200,000 are considered cheap." That's right. Many people are rushing to buy 2 million talismans. This kind of rag, it is estimated that you can afford the $2 piece charm in the temple. Mr. Jinghai looked at Charlie, snorted, and said, "You can eat rice but you can't talk nonsense. The reason why people grow their brains is to think in their heads before speaking. It's best not to pretend to understand." After speaking, Mr. Jinghai curled his lips in disdain, and walked into the exhibition hall first. Charlie's face was indifferent, and he didn't even see Mr. Jinghai in his eyes. Warnya on the side said embarrassingly, "Mr. Charlie, don't take it to your heart, Mr. Jinghai has a bigger temper." Charlie shook his head indifferently, and said to Warnya, "Let's go in." The guests entered the venue one by one, and the host was Fenghui Bao, the owner of the Treasure Pavilion, and a few words of routine speech on the stage entered the auction. The auction officially begins. Due to the temporary cancellation of the last auction, this time there were more lots than last time, and the number of guests doubled. The first item that the two ladies of etiquette pushed onto the stage with a trolley was an antique copper incense burner, with white mist curling up and smelling fragrant. The auctioneer introduced, "This is the Songhe backflow incense burner of the Thompson dynasty. It is one of the treasures given to the painter and calligraphy master Su Dongpo by the Emperor of Thompson dynasty. The 2 boxes of ambergris are used by the Thompson dynasty court and are not allowed to be used by the people. Moreover, the production method has been lost, and it is refreshing to hear, and it has a slight cheering effect." After speaking, he motioned to the lady of manners to light incense. A lady of etiquette carefully dug a handful of incense with a silver spoon to light it. A white smoke slowly dripping down the incense burner like a waterfall, and the pine cranes on the incense burner were vivid, and faintly flapping their wings. A faint scent floated up in the auction hall immediately, and the smell was refreshing, and everyone couldn't help but feel refreshed. Charlie nodded and said, "It is indeed authentic ambergris, refined by sperm whales, and this kind of handmade incense technology is basically impossible to buy now." The auctioneer knocked the gavel twice and said, "The starting price of the Songhe backflow incense burner is 800,000, and the price is increased by 100,000. This incense burner is exquisitely made, has a certain collection value, and the auction price is also moderate," and the audience raised placards. In a short while, the incense burner was auctioned away by a player for 1.6 million. Immediately afterwards, 7 or 8 lots were presented, all of which were high-quality antiques. The atmosphere of the venue was warm, and guests bidding. Jacob watched it with gusto, but he was shy in his pocket, otherwise he would be itchy and holding a card. However, Charlie had no interest in these collections. Although these lots are precious, they are limited to collections, and they are of little value to him. At this moment, the hostess brought a white porcelain plate with a string of purple beads shining in the light. The auctioneer introduced, "The natural purple pearls of the East China Sea can only be picked out from 1,000 beads. The beads are round and uniform in size, which is a rare good product. The auction price of this string of purple pearls is not expensive, as long as 400,000. Charlie raised his head and immediately bid 500,000. Jacob's eyelids twitched, and he quickly said, "What are you doing with this?" "The pearl necklace is worth tens of thousands. This 400,000 is a waste. Don't shoot." Charlie looked at the string of pearls, thinking of Claire in his heart, and said with a smile, "I think Claire is quite suitable for wearing it. Pearls calm the nerves. She has been under too much pressure recently and has poor sleep cycle." When he heard that he was buying for his daughter, Jacob closed his mouth knowingly what he wanted to say. "The collection value of this necklace is not high, so no one bids." Just when the auctioneer was about to make a final decision, a voice suddenly sounded. 600,000. Charlie looked to the side looking for the sound. He saw that Stephen, from the Chin family, showed his head from the side, with a sneer on his face, and said to Charlie, "Sorry, I also fell in love with this necklace." Charlie couldn't help frowning. Why is he here too? Isn't he forbidden by Chin gang? Stephen has had a miserable life these few days. After getting into trouble a few days ago, he was severely beaten by his second uncle and was also banned. However, with his extreme love for antiques, how can this level of auction be missed? So, he tried his best to run out to participate in the auction today, but he didn't expect to see Charlie here again. He had always been disdainful of Charlie. In his opinion, the second uncle was completely deceived by this kid. But he didn't dare to provoke Charlie head-on. Seeing that Charlie was about to shoot the necklace, he immediately bid the price. Although it was useless, it was good to make Charlie uncomfortable. Charlie glanced at him, then turned his head indifferently, and continued to bid. 700,000. Stephen followed closely, 800,000. Jacob couldn't sit still, and said quickly, "Charlie, let's not shoot, forget it, don't fight." Charlie smiled faintly and said, "Look at how I play with him." After speaking, he directly raised his hand, 8 million. The scene was dumbfounded. Others call 800,000, you call 8 million? Are you poisonous? Stephen was also dumbfounded. You don't play cards according to the routine. Mine is 800,000. You should be calling 900,000. The maximum is 1 million. What do you mean by 8 million? Do you have money to burn, or is your brain short-circuited? Charlie raised his eyebrows towards Stephen and smiled. Mr. Stephen, continue. Stephen sipped. Am I crazy? Buy this tattered thing for 8 million? Forget it, it suits you. Although Stephen couldn't hold his face, he was really unwilling to bid on the basis of 8 million. The value of this bead is as high as 700,000. If he really spend more than 8 million to buy it, he will be broken when he goes home. Money is not spent like that. Charlie stared at Stephen at this time, and said disdainfully, "Mr. Stephen, you withered so soon? It seems that you can't do it either." Everyone laughed. Stephen blushed and said, "You're so irritating me. I don't think you can afford it at all. Blind your mother asking for a price and want to lead me to a set? Humph, I have to see how you take it out." Charlie curled his lips. "If you can't afford it, just say you can't. What's the point of explaining so much here?" At this time, the auctioneer also dropped the hammer. 8 million, deal, congratulations to Mr. Charlie. After that, a lady of manners came to Charlie with a wireless credit card machine and said, "Mr. Charlie, please use your card to pay." Everyone was staring at Charlie, and Stephen sneered, "Charlie, how I see you swiping your card. Can you take out 8 million? Others were curious as to whether Charlie was so frantic and mad. Could he really come up with so much money? Charlie smiled lightly, took out Qin Gang's premium card, and finished swiping the card with a bang. The premium card has no password. Credit card successful. The lady of etiquette handed the list to Charlie and respectfully said, "Mr. Charlie, the treasures you procured will be delivered to you before the end." "Good." Charlie nodded. Others were shocked. It seems that he is really rich. Buying a necklace of 700,000 at the price of 8 million, this man is really bold. At this moment, Charlie looked at Stephen and asked with a smile, "Mr. Stephen, have you taken this order?" There was a burst of laughter around, and someone ridiculed, "Mr. Stephen, isn't he in the middle of his family and can't afford to pay?" "Haha, I think young Mr. Stephen is too weak to lift the knife." "Ha ha ha ha." Stephen felt hot on his face. This grandson can really come up with so much money. This time he is really embarrassed. So he gritted his teeth and said, "Charlie, I will never lose to you in the next item." Charlie nodded, and said indifferently, "Okay, let's move to the next one." Stephen didn't know where Charlie was so emboldened, let alone Charlie still holding a card from his second uncle in his hand. Soon, a few more collections were sold, followed by a semi-finished Tianhuanjiu embryo. Half of this jade embryo is wrapped in rock to show that it is purely natural, and the price is 800,000. The naturally formed jade embryo contains a certain amount of spiritual energy. Charlie thought to himself, this thing was just right for Qin Gang to practice evil spirits, and he immediately raised the card. 900,000. But as soon as his voice fell, the familiar voice sounded again. 1000000. Charlie turned his head and met Stephen's provocative eyes. He remained silent and continued to raise his placard. 1.1 million. 120. After several times, the price of Tianhuanjiu embryos has doubled, and under Stephen's deliberate bidding, it has soared to 2 million. Many people present also saw that Stephen had begun to deliberately target Charlie again. Everyone was waiting to watch another good show, so they stared at Charlie's hand. Charlie slowly raised his placard and said, 20 million. The scene is crazy. 2 million is directly called 20 million? It's the same as before, it's directly increased 10 times. Stephen's face was extremely ugly. Is this Charlie dying? Even if you have money, is that money not money? So corrupt? He is a famous prodigal in Oris Hill, but even he is not willing to buy something 10 times the price. He hesitated suddenly. Follow or not? Follow, then throw away more than 18 million for nothing. If he doesn't follow, Charlie is afraid that he will kill him, and these people are afraid that they will laugh at him. He has lost face just now, and if Charlie takes it this time, it would be really shameless to come out. Thinking of this, Stephen gritted his teeth and blurted out, I'm out of 20.1 million. There was an exclamation at the scene. Stephen added 100,000. This is a challenge. Charlie smiled slightly at this time, and raised his hand again, I give out 30 million. I go. This crazy. This buddy is too rigid. 2 million is 20 million, and 20.1 million is 30 million. Charlie's handwriting scared everyone on the scene. Stephen also collapsed. What is Charlie doing? Is he really so rich? 30 million. One can buy 15 pieces of this jade. No matter who pays this price, it will be a big taker. Charlie asked Stephen again at this time, Mr. Stephen, come on, continue. Stephen panicked. 30 million to buy a piece of jade, if he let the family know, he will die. Sister Aoxu is afraid that he will be crippled for life. But, so many people are watching how to do it. Stephen's face was red and white. The auctioneer bid, 30 million once. 30 million twice. The lively audience at the scene began to shout, Mr. Stephen bid. Mr. Stephen, you have to be hard. Mr. Stephen, don't let us look down on you. Mr. Stephen, are you really persuaded? You just pretended to be so forceful, and now you are afraid. Charlie said with a smile, Mr. Stephen, if you don't bid, you will lose. Stephen was eye-catching at this time, and he hesitated for a moment, but his reason still defeated his impulse. He said angrily, I give up. Cut. Force. What a shame. What a shame. There was a burst of scolding and laughter at the scene, making Stephen face lost. He even regretted coming out today, otherwise, he wouldn't be so embarrassed. Feeling extremely embarrassed, Stephen was very angry for a while, turned his head and saw Charlie's teasing eyes, even more furious. He couldn't help rushing out of his private room and walked to Charlie to question. "This rug weighed, did you deliberately fix me?" Charlie slowly picked up water on the table, took a sip, and said, "No one is forcing you to bid with me. You are the one who insists on doing it against me. If you do, you become angry and pathetic." Warnya on the side also said coldly, "Mr. Stephen, the auction rules are like this. I would like to accept the bet and don't come if I can't afford it." Stephen gritted his teeth with anger, but he didn't dare to offend Warnya. "Not done with you." Stephen pointed at Charlie fiercely with his hand, and returned to the box angrily. Charlie couldn't help but shook his head. With Stephen, the prodigal son, the Chin family thought it would be difficult. Under everyone's gaze, Charlie continued to swipe the premium card to pay. Anyway, it was Chin Gang's money, and it didn't hurt at all to spend it. Anyway, if Chin Gang knew that he had spent so much money because of the prodigal Stephen of their Chin family, what would he be like? The man might Stephen to relieve the anger? Really interesting. 1 hour later, the auction was nearing completion. During this period of time, Stephen didn't bid even once, and he was probably afraid of Charlie. At this moment, several waiters struggled to push a trolley onto the stage with a huge object on it. Charlie suddenly held his breath and looked up to the stage. He felt a strong aura. At this moment, Mr. Jinghai in the next box was also refreshed, staring at the lot. "This is the final treasure." However, when Fenghui Bao opened the curtain covering it, the crowd showed disappointment. Because what was on the cart turned out to be a big, tattered reef with seaweed and dried shells attached to it. There was a lot of discussion in the audience, and they didn't understand why treasures regarded this broken stone as the finale. At this time, Fenghui Bao explained, "Don't worry, everyone, this is the final product of this show, natural clams. This clam is naturally generated on the seafloor. It has been identified that the shellfish has been 100 years old and has been soaked on the seafloor for thousands of years after death. The shell has shown a natural pattern, making it definitely a unique treasure." After speaking, he ordered the courtesy lady to wipe off a piece for everyone to watch. Sure enough, the exposed palm-sized area showed a transparent gold-red color like amber, which was beautiful. This time the venue was a complete sensation. The price of crustaceans in the international arena ranges from 30,000 to 50,000, and the lifespan of shells is only 20 to 100 years, and this clam has 100 years of age. It is not easy, and it is definitely among the treasures. The best treasures. It is even more rare than it has slept on the seabed for thousands of years. The color is golden red and transparent, and there is a natural 4D pattern. It can be said that it has an excellent meaning and is the top treasure among the clams. The starting price of this clam is 9 million. Crowds bid, and soon the price drove up to 12 million. Many people retire when they knew the difficulties, but there are still people who know the goods persevering. At this moment, Mr. Jinghai stood up and said loudly, I'm out of 15 million. After speaking, he turned around and bowed his hands to everyone, smiling, "Dear friends, I am here at this auction today, it is for this clam, please give Jinghai a certain noodle, let Jinghai a certain time, later I will give everyone a peace symbol as a gift of gratitude." Most of the guests present were the bosses. Knowing the reputation of Mr. Jinghai, they did not dare to offend casually. If it doesn't work well, people can make a fool of themselves, and it will make you jump around. Besides, giving away 200,000 one-piece charms is not in vain, so although many people are unhappy, they still choose to bear it. Although Feng Weibao face remained silent, he was really unhappy in his heart. Originally, the auction was for the higher bidder, but Mr. Jinghai broke the rules. If the 15 million were taken away by him, it wouldn't be a big deal for him to make less money, but after the reputation spreads, the prestige of Treasure Pavilion in the industry will surely be damaged. But Feng Weibao also knew that Mr. Jinghai was very strong and very skilled, so he couldn't easily offend him, so he could only give up. Mr. Jinghai was so proud that he couldn't hold back his excitement. For this clam, he did not hesitate to fly to Oris Hill. After several setbacks, he finally got what he wanted. What is a mere 15 million? As long as things get into his hands, he can definitely make a fortune. Moreover, the scene was indeed silent. It seemed that he had made a move with master stroke, and no one dared to bid with him. This is face. This is majesty. All over the country, who wouldn't give a bit of a thin face to Mr. Jinghai? It seems that this piece of crustacean, he has picked up a big leak of 15 million. At this moment, a faint voice sounded again. I pay 30 million. As soon as this sound came out, the venue was quiet. Everyone looked at the bidder in unison, with surprise in their hearts. It's him again. It was the young man in ordinary clothes. At first glance, there was nothing extraordinary, but the two bids with Stephen were impressive. The point is that he bid sky-high prices twice and swiped his card for payment both times. It was so awesome. However, no one thought that this guy would dare to challenge Mr. Jinghai. Mr. Jinghai saw him at a glance, and his face suddenly sank. At this time, Stephen stood up in shock and rubbed his eyes vigorously. Warnya didn't expect that Charlie would suddenly make an offer with Mr. Jinghai. She only knew that Charlie had the ability to appraise treasures, but did not know how many assets Charlie had. She couldn't help thinking to herself that she didn't even want to offend Master Jinghai. This Charlie, wouldn't he worry about Mr. Jinghai's revenge? It was Jacob who recovered first, and hurriedly pulled him. Charlie, what are you doing? Sit down. Dad, I have a sense of measure. Charlie turned his head and said lightly, then raised his head again, his eyes extremely calm. Charlie, what do you mean? Want to grab Master Jinghai's stuff? Stephen took the initiative and asked coldly. Charlie smiled slightly. This is an auction. Everyone can shoot. How can you say that you are robbing others? You are so big, don't you understand the rules? After speaking, Charlie sneered again, You should just sit there and stop talking. Don't you feel blushing just after losing your face? When Stephen heard this, he was immediately embarrassed and immediately sat back with a guilty conscience and stopped speaking. Mr. Jinghai sullenly, staring at Charlie like an owl, coldly said, It's you again. Do you know where I came from? Do you dare to snatch things from Jinghai? Charlie sneered and asked him, I care not what kind of chicken bully you are, I will snatch it from you today, what I think is mine. Mr. Jinghai is going crazy. He enjoys a great reputation both at home and abroad. Everyone present respects him, but this kid is extremely arrogant. He demolished his platform several times, which is really annoying. What's even more exaggerated is that he dared to scold him. This is simply looking for death. The people present were also shocked. What is this, grandson? How dare you be so tough? Scold Mr. Jinghai? Tired of life, right? Mr. Jinghai, a feng shui master, has 10,000 ways to kill him without drawing blood. However, even though Mr. Jinghai was angry in his heart, in order to get the clam at a low price, he still maintained his demeanor on the surface and smiled and said, This friend, you and I had a little misunderstanding at the door just now, but just a little thing. Just open it. If you bid with me for revenge, it would be too cautious, right? Mr. Jinghai himself is preparing 15 million to take this clam, but if he and Charlie are firm, the next bid will exceed 30 million. He doesn't want to spend so much money. Therefore, he swallowed his breath and hoped that Charlie could withdraw his bid. After he gets the 15 million clams, he will slowly settle accounts with him. Charlie had seen his motives a long time ago, and said contemptuously, Don't talk nonsense with me, I am also fond of this clam, if you can afford it, you can pay, and you can play with it if you can't afford it, let me take it. The scene is crazy again. This buddy actually let Mr. Jinghai play eggs. Is it too kind? Mr. Jinghai kept a cold face, but in order to save money, he continued to speak, I really like this clam, can you give me face? Charlie glanced at him and said flatly, Give you face? Do I know you? After speaking, Charlie asked again, Hey, just tell me, can't you afford to pay? Mr. Jinghai's face is extremely ugly, so far no one has dared to speak to him like this. Moreover, the other party looked as young as 20 or so, younger than his own disciples and grandchildren. Under the annoyance, Mr. Jinghai was too lazy to maintain his demeanor, and said coldly, unexpectedly, My face would be so despised by others. Well, since it is fair competition, then the higher price will naturally get. I want to see how much wealth you have, come and grab this clam from me. After he finished speaking, he raised his head and shouted, I'll pay 50 million. The loud voice made the audience noisy again. The bidding became a big bet, and the atmosphere in the venue quickly became warm. The rules are simple. Who has more money? Who is the king of this battle? Mr. Jinghai's thinking is very simple. If he fights with him a little bit, he is afraid that he will go on endlessly. Therefore, he must bid a price that can bluff him, and directly ask him 50 million. He must not dare to follow. However, no one thought that Charlie's face remained unchanged, and 2 words were spit out in his mouth. 100 million. The auction price doubled again. The atmosphere in the venue is boiling. In just a few minutes, the price of this lot has even doubled tenfold, which is the focus of auction history. Stephen couldn't help shouting, "Charlie, you don't pretend to be there, do you have the money?" Charlie couldn't help laughing, and said, "It's true, why do you drop it? You are not convinced? I might as well tell you the truth, this card I use is from your Qin family, and it was given to me by your second uncle. So, is it unexpected? Are you surprised?" You. Stephen's face flushed. "You dare to waste Qin family's money? Sooner or later, I'm going to smash you, a liar." Mr. Jinghai turned his head, looked at Stephen, and asked, "Mr. Stephen, do you know this person?" Stephen snorted coldly and said, "He is a live-in son-in-law of the Wilson family, and he doesn't have a job. He eats his wife's soft rice at home. Recently, he has some money by tricking my second uncle." "Is it?" Mr. Jinghai raised his eyebrows, as if taking a reassurance pill, and snorted coldly. Slap a swollen face to fill a fat man. Young people, I advise you not to be too arrogant, otherwise you are the one who suffers. Not that I despise you. Can you get 100 million? Charlie's face was slightly cold, and he said lightly, "I can't get it. Don't worry about it. You can continue to bid if you have seeds, and shut your mouth if you don't have them." Mr. Jinghai couldn't stand it any longer and cursed, "Boy! You are looking for death." Charlie laughed and said, "I'm looking for death? It's up to you. You can't even afford to buy things, and you want to kill me? What a fool!" Mr. Jinghai was repeatedly ridiculed by Charlie and could no longer maintain his demeanor. He sullenly shouted, "Young man, you'd better give me enough. Obediently let things out, otherwise you will have your life to buy, and your life will be useless." Feng Weibao expression suddenly changed as soon as these words were spoken. "This is a clear rule to smash the treasure pavilion." His face was sullen, but he didn't dare to refute Master Jinghai, and he was very uncomfortable. Charlie smiled slightly, "If you want my life, you have to wait for the auction to end, right? Now the auction is not over, I just paid 100 million, please continue to bid." Warnya was very surprised. Mr. Jinghai is not an ordinary person, even with the Song family backing, there is no guarantee that she can deal with Mr. Jinghai. But what did Charlie mean by offending Master Wade so much? Where does the confidence come from? Jacob fell on the sofa and was shocked to cover his heart, panting, thinking, "It's over, this time is over, my son-in-law is over, and my family will be over." Mr. Jinghai's face was stiff. Charlie didn't put him in his eyes at all. These words were undoubtedly slapped him in the face. However, Charlie was right. This was at the auction. If he wanted to get the clam, he had to continue bidding. But, 100 million, who can afford it? Everyone's eyes are on Master Wade, to see how he responds. Mr. Jinghai's face was green and white, but for that clam, he suppressed his anger and said in a low voice to Charlie, "My friend, if I offended you just now, it was really unintentional, please forgive me. But this clam is really useful to me. Please raise your hand and let me give you a favor. My favor is more valuable than this clam." The cold light in his eyes flickered, and this hairy boy dared to make himself so embarrassed. When this matter is over, he must kill him. Charlie said faintly, "I'm sorry, I can use it to be useful, so I can't let you have it. Moreover, I just said that you are a chicken bully in my eyes, and your favor is worthless to me." Mr. Jinghai broke down. He has only one thought now: when the auction ends, he will kill Charlie by finding a way. Must kill him. Seeing that Mr. Jinghai was counseled, the people at the scene couldn't help but sigh. They didn't expect that this young man had just gone all the way to the end, and even Mr. Jinghai had tasted his defeat. With the final hammer drop of the auctioneer, Charlie finally succeeded in taking the finale of the clam at a price of 100 million. Mr. Jinghai was so angry that he glanced bitterly at Charlie. His face was green and he left the scene directly. He wants to kill Charlie right now, but circumstances don't allow it. This matter will be solved slowly. Looking at the back of Mr. Jinghai leaving, Warnya reminded Charlie, "Mr. Jinghai is not an ordinary person. I don't think he will give up and will make trouble for you. You must be careful these days." Charlie smiled and said, "I'm afraid he won't come." 100 million smashed in and replaced it with a clam. Everyone thought Charlie was crazy, but only Charlie didn't care about it at all. On the way back, Charlie explained to Jacob about the auction, indicating that the 100 million was authorized by the Qin family, so that the old master could not bear it and frightened him again. After arriving home, Charlie immediately began to study the clam shell while Claire was not off work. This clam is as big as a wheel, it has been cleaned up, and after a simple polishing, a golden red smooth shell surface is revealed. Charlie broke it into several pieces with a little effort. He picked up a piece and looked at it. Sure enough, 3 white beads were exposed in the thick shell. This is the essence of clams. The clam is one of the 7 treasures of Buddhism, and the pearl of this clam is even more spiritual. And only shellfish that have a lifespan of more than 100 years and have been psychic will have them, and they are formed by absorbing the essence of the ocean. This is the best in the refining device, and it can be met but not sought, which is why Charlie must take it at the expense of a large price. Charlie found 3 sea spirit orbs from the clams, and he was quite satisfied. Afterwards, Charlie took the bleeding dragon and thundered the wood, and according to the method in the 9 profound heaven scriptures, he punched a few handprints in with spiritual energy. As soon as the handprint entered it, it immediately elicited the strongest thunderous breath inside. As soon as the clam encountered this thunderous breath, it burst out with a slight golden light, and quickly absorbed the escaped breath. Charlie picked up the sea clam and began to refine the magical artifact. Soon, the sea clam gradually formed in his hands. He took out the pearl necklace that he had bought at the auction today, took some pearls from it, and refined them with the sea spirit beads, and finally refined them into a bracelet. The remaining clam shells are also top grade. He took one of them, refined it into a scare talisman, and planned to take this to Qin Gang. The shock talisman made with a clamshell shell blended with the thunderous breath that specializes in breaking the evil spirits, and it was enough for the Qin family to deal with that evil spirit. After finishing these refining, Charlie saw that there were still a lot of crustacean fragments left, and seeing that it was still early, he held the clamshell fragments to refine his hands and tried to refine a thunder order. According to the records in the 9 profound heavenly scriptures, this thunder stunner is a low-level magic weapon, mainly used to summon thunder and rain. However, he added the thunder energy of the blood dragon thunder strikes the woods, and doubled its effect. It can be used to expel ghosts and suppress evil, as well as attack and fight. As soon as he finished practicing the thunder order, he heard movement from downstairs. The wife is back. Charlie hurriedly took the remaining shards of clams under the bed, and walked out of the bedroom with the freshly made sea spirit beads. As soon as he looked up, he saw Claire standing in the living room, talking helplessly to her mother Elaine. Charlie walked over and saw Elaine shaking her wrist. On her wrist, it was the jade bracelet that Qin Gang gave him. Elaine said with joy, "Claire, this bracelet is really good, I wear it out. Everyone praises it as a good thing, not to mention it's more face-saving." Claire said helplessly, "Mom, didn't Charlie leave this bracelet at home a few days ago? Why did you wear it without saying anything? I thought I lost it." Elaine glared, "I'm your mother, what's wrong with wearing one? Give me a few more days to wear it, go out and show it off." Seeing the two mother and daughter arguing, Charlie hurriedly walked over and said roundly, "Claire, let her wear it if she like it. I just made a new bracelet and I plan to give it to you." "What bracelet?" Elaine grabbed it like a treasure. But when she saw it was just a string of shell beads, she immediately handed it to Claire out of anger. "It's this kind of worthless thing again." Claire took it, put it on her hand naturally, looked at it and said, "You did it yourself, right?" "Yes." Charlie nodded and said, "This shell pearl bracelet has the effect of calming the nerves and helping you sleep, and it can also ward off evil and help you in self-defense. Today is a little too late, so it is relatively rough. I will make you better when I have the opportunity in the future." Before he could finish speaking, Claire smiled slightly. "Thank you, I like it very much." "You like it?" Charlie breathed a sigh of relief. The jade necklace he gave to Claire before was very precious, but Claire didn't wear it much. She usually likes to be plain and doesn't care about gold and silver jewelry, so she doesn't like to wear too showy things. However, Claire seemed very pleased with this string of clam bracelets. Seeing Claire, Elaine seemed to like the broken bracelet very much, and muttered angrily, "It's neither gold nor jade, but a bunch of worthless shell pearls. What's the use?" Charlie smiled, not arguing with her. It's okay not to let Claire know its value. Otherwise, she knew that if this magic weapon bracelet was sold, the rich would at least be willing to bid more than $1 billion for it. After giving the bracelet to Claire, Charlie went downstairs, found a courier in the same city, and mailed Qin Gang the shock charm and the premium card together. In this way, it can be regarded as a satisfactory explanation to him. Qin family Mr. Jinghai was sitting on the Grand Master's chair in the main hall at this time. His face was gloomy and he didn't say a word. When he came to Oris Hill on this trip, he was aimed at this clam. There are sea spirit beads in it, which are used to make magical artifacts. The value is immeasurable. But he didn't expect Charlie to kill his plans halfway, disrupt his plan and make him gritted his teeth with hatred. Stephen stood by, standing with his hands down. The prestige of Suan Zhaitang is outside, and of course the Qin family also recognizes Master Jinghai, and they all stand aside respectfully. Qin Gang smiled complimentarily. "I didn't expect Mr. Jinghai to come to the humble house. Qin is really fortunate. I don't know what is going on with Jinghai's coming." Mr. Jinghai took a sip of tea unhurriedly, put the cup on the table, and said slowly, "I ran into Mr. Stephen at the auction, and he invited me to show your family's fortune." Qin Gang had been prepared to clean up Stephen, and see if he would dare to sneak out next time, but seeing that Stephen invited the famous Mr. Jinghai, he put the pressure down. "Mr. Jinghai, please take your time." Mr. Jinghai nodded and said, "If I'm not wrong, the Qin family has been in bad luck over the past 2 years. I am afraid that someone in the family has an ominous thing. There was a bloody disaster last year. As for this year..." After speaking, he looked around pretending to be mysterious, and sighed, "I think your Qin family's fortune has come to an end. If this continues, the Qin family will be ruined, and the family will be destroyed." As soon as Mr. Jinghai finished speaking, Qin Gang paled, and quickly said respectfully, "Mr. Jinghai, you are truly a master of Suan Zhaitang. My Qin family is indeed in bad luck. Please help." Everyone in the Qin family was also surprised. Mr. Jinghai is really an expert, and he is all right. Charlie hasn't replied yet, and Qin Gang has already waited impatiently. But right now, the famous Mr. Jinghai came to the door himself. He seemed to have caught the straw, and asked quickly, Mr. Jinghai, do you have a solution? Of course there is a way. Mr. Jinghai said slowly, and suddenly frowned, but I see your house. I am afraid that there has been a magical trick that confuses the people recently, which has broken the feng shui and hastened the demise of the Qin family. If you let it continue to harm you, I am afraid that your Qin will all die within half a year. What? The stick? Qin Gang was stunned for a while. Charlie was the only one who showed feng shui to the Qin family recently. Qin Gang was extremely convinced by Charlie, and quickly said, "Mister, can you read it wrong?" There was indeed a Mr. Charlie who helped me resolve it, but his methods are very useful, and it should not be a magic stick. Mr. Jinghai snorted coldly and shouted, "A person who pretends to be a ghost is the best at deceiving an ignorant person. If you are willing to believe him, just let me go." Mr. Jinghai stayed. Qin Gang panicked, and quickly stopped. "Please enlighten me, Mr. Jinghai, what is wrong with Mr. Wade's method?" Without raising his head, Mr. Jinghai reached out and pointed to the central room. "You bring a bowl of water." Qin Gang quickly ordered someone to bring a bowl of clear water. Mr. Jinghai took the clear water to read a word, melted a few charms on the water, and then flicked the water on Qin Gang's eyelids. Qin had just opened his eyes, and suddenly he was terrified and backed away. "Mr. Jinghai, what is this?" He suddenly saw a strange layer of black smoke on his house. Moreover, on the heads of the Qin family, there were wisps of grey lifeless air, and the faces of the people were pale, just like a group of zombies. Mr. Jinghai snorted, "I opened the eyes of the sky to you. What you see is yin qi, but your family members are all under danger and will die soon." Qin Gang was so frightened that he fell into a chair and muttered, "What can I do about this? It's okay, if I come here today, it can be regarded as destined for you." Mr. Jinghai took out a safety talisman and handed it to a member of the Qin clan. Qin Gang suddenly saw that this peace talisman glowed with a faint golden light, and the golden light immediately diminished the death spirit on the head of the tribe. Mr. Jinghai flicked his hand in front of Qin Gang, and everything Qin Gang saw suddenly disappeared and returned to its original state. This Qin Gang was in a cold sweat, and hurriedly said, "Mr. Jinghai is really a god. Please save my Qin family, I am willing to pay no matter how much money. Save a life and win a 7th level float. I came here today for this." As Mr. Jinghai said, he took out dozens of safety charms and handed them over. "If you order your people to carry these with them, it will naturally resolve the bad luck." Qin Gang took it gratefully and hesitated. "I wonder how much Master Jinghai this thing worth?" Mr. Jinghai waved his hand. "Resolving bad luck is also a merit. I don't accept any money. But if there is a magic stick to coax you and let you spend a lot of money to buy a magical weapon, you must not charge it." Stephen next to him couldn't help saying, "Second uncle, I've said Charlie is a liar. He took the money from our house and didn't know where he was going to spend it. You must chase the money back, otherwise you will sue him. Fraud. Let him live his life in prison. Aoxu frowned, thinking, not knowing why, but she felt that Mr. Jinghai looked more like a liar. That Charlie, apart from being a bit bad and having no IQ at all, he didn't seem so bad, and in many cases, he could give people a feeling of inscrutable depth, like a deep pool of nowhere. The bottom of the lake or a deep ocean trench. You shut up. Qin Gang glared at Stephen, then turned and respectfully said to Master Jinghai, "Thank you for your advice, I will definitely pay attention to it in the future." Mr. Jinghai nodded meaningfully, got up, and left. As soon as Master Jinghai left, Stephen immediately said, "Second uncle, Mr. Jinghai is a well-known master of Suanzhaitang. How can a liar like Charlie can be compared to him? This time, Mr. Jinghai will solve all the problems in our family. Yes, it doesn't cost a penny." Mr. Jinghai didn't charge any money, but Charlie cheated our family a lot of money. He spent 100 million and took a piece of a broken shell. This is a scam. You are too naive. How can you give him so much money? If this spreads out, people in Oris Hill won't call us Qin family fools. Qin Gang was silent, but his face was already suspicious. Mr. Jinghai's reputation is indeed very strong, and the things that Mr. Jinghai just let himself see are vivid and have to be believed. More importantly, Mr. Jinghai did not take a cent, while Charlie spent more than 100 million on the auction. The more such a comparison, the more he felt that Charlie might be something wrong. At this moment, a housekeeper of the Qin family knocked on the door, and only stepped in after getting permission from Qin Gang. "Mr. Qin, there is your express." After speaking, he handed over a paper box. Qin Gang frowned, and after unpacking the paper box, he found a token lying quietly inside. Looking closely at this token, it seems that it is only a thin piece, only the size of a matchbox, worn with a cheap red string, and it looks exactly like the stalls in tourist attractions. Qin Gang looked at the sender and saw that the word Charlie was written on it. Looking at the remarks, there are only a few words written on it: "Scary talisman, hang in the main hall to break the evil." When Stephen saw it, he immediately cursed, "Second uncle, this Charlie treats you as a fool. Just where is this broken shell? Maybe it was bought from a stall on the street. How can it be broken? Moreover, he gave us such a thing for more than 100 million? He still sent it to us. He doesn't care about you face. You said, this Charlie is not a liar, what else can he be?" Stephen was so angry, and said sharply, "Second uncle, let's take someone to Charlie and get the money back. Otherwise, if Charlie runs away, our loss will be too great." "You shut up first, let me think about it," Qin Gang said, rubbing his eyebrows, looking at the startled talisman. He really couldn't see any magic. After hesitating for a while, Qin Gang summoned the Qin family members and said with a sullen face, "It is a matter of life and death of the Qin family. It is of great importance. I will go to Charlie tomorrow and ask what happened. You must wear Mr. Jinghai's safety talisman. Feel free to take it off. Yes. Second uncle, I want to go too. Stephen gritted his teeth. This person named Charlie has done a lot of harm to me. Now that I'm catching his fox tail, I have to break his leg by myself. Only you? Can you beat him? Qin Gang frowned and said, but if you really want to go, you should bring a few more bodyguards. First inquire about Charlie's whereabouts tomorrow, just in case. After speaking, he paused again and shouted, remember, I didn't ask you to take people to trouble Charlie. I am afraid that you would act recklessly and be beaten again. Stephen was overjoyed and immediately said, I understand. Qin Gang said coldly, although my Qin family is not a top-level family, it can't tolerate others to deceive me. If anyone deceives me, I will respond back. I must check this out. If Charlie really pretends to be what he is not, I will not forgive him. After leaving Qin's house, Mr. Jinghai immediately made up his wishful thinking. He naturally wanted Charlie to avenge him, and he wanted to take back the clams that Charlie had stolen, but this was not enough. When he came to Oris Hill this time, he also wanted to establish a prestige in Oris Hill, recruit a group of believers, and provide more support to his career. Therefore, he planned a game that he thought was the best of both worlds. Think of Charlie as the key to killing the chicken and the monkey and letting the whole Oris Hill surrender. Charlie didn't know that the so-called Mr. Jinghai was planning to use himself to sacrifice the flag. In the evening, he was preparing to buy vegetables and cook when he suddenly received a call from Warnya. After picking it up, Warnya had a serious tone and said directly to Charlie, Mr. Charlie, that Mr. Jinghai invited some masters in antiques, feng shui, and metaphysics to hold a banquet at White's house. Ask me if you have time to go there. White family. Which type of family is it? Warnya said, a middle-class family. They have two male descendants, Gerald and Fred White. Both of them? How could they be elected to his house? Charlie asked strangely. Warnya explained, recently, the White family has not been going well. The son Fred White and nephew Gerald have had troubles one after another. The White family's career has also plummeted. Therefore, the White family's head begged Mr. Jinghai and wanted him to change the feng shui of the White family. While speaking, Warnya continued, but I think Mr. Jinghai has invited a bunch of metaphysical masters. It may not be as simple as trying to earn some money from the White family. There may be other thoughts. Charlie smiled and said nonchalantly, I snatched the clam at the auction and choked him. I am sure that he wants to retaliate against me. It is estimated that this time he set up a set for me. Right. With a slight smile, Charlie said again, but I will go this time and see face to face what tricks he wants to play. Warnya saw that he agreed and said, that's it, the place is at White's house. Tomorrow morning, let's go together. I will drive to pick you up. Done. Early the next morning, Warnya drove to pick up Charlie and went to White's house. White's villa is located on the mountainside in the suburbs with beautiful scenery. The pavilions in this area were all built into antique buildings. The White family spent hundreds of millions to decorate them. They are usually used to receive distinguished guests or entertain friends. Outside the pavilion by the lake, there are dozens of yellow rosewood chairs. A dozen invited guests have sat down and communicating with each other, and laughter came from time to time. Sitting in the main seat is a fat middle-aged man. He is Fred White's father, Solomon White. And sitting beside him was Mr. Jing Hai. In addition to these two people, Charlie also met two acquaintances, Taylor, the richest man in Haikan, and Guo Ming who followed him. Seeing Charlie coming in, Taylor nodded to Charlie. Solomon White glanced at him sideways and snorted coldly. Obviously he also knew that Fred and Gerald had suffered a loss at Charlie's hands, so seeing Charlie, he didn't have a good face. Fenghui Bao quickly stood up to greet him and said, "Mr. Charlie, Miss Song, you are here." Charlie nodded and said with a smile, "Come and see the style of Master Jing Hai." A middle-aged man in a long gown asked in surprise, "This is the buyer who took the finale at the auction with the billions." Fenghui Bao smiled and introduced, "It is Mr. Wade." "What? Mr. Wade?" Solomon White glanced at Charlie disdainfully, and then smiled, "Now the name of Master Wade is almost worthless. Any kind of waste can call himself a master, and he is truly capable like Mr. Jing Hai. The master, but so low-key." As soon as he finished speaking, the crowd was embarrassed. It wasn't that Solomon White deliberately belittled him, it was indeed that Charlie could not be called a master regardless of age or style of clothing. And all masters present here are almost all defiant people in the metaphysical world. To let them and Charlie, a young man, call out Master Wade, many people here are unhappy. Mr. Jinghai stood up and smiled calmly, "It's okay. I want to take advantage of the king's place to host this banquet. I also want to get together with you. As for who is the real master and who is the one who is worthy of fame, I will wait. It's natural to see the difference." After hearing Mr. Jinghai's words, everyone present couldn't help but sneer at Charlie. This kind of hairy boy is not just for fame, but what else can it be? Warnya also frowned slightly. She knew that Mr. Jinghai would target Charlie, but she did not expect that the atmosphere would be so solemn as soon as she entered. However, Charlie looked cold, walked up to his chair and sat down without squinting. He didn't know everything around him. When Solomon White saw that everyone was there, he said, "Since everyone is here, then I will tell you that today, Mr. Jinghai took advantage of our White's place to host this banquet. First, I wanted to get to know you, and second, too, I want to learn from everyone." "How to compare?" someone asked. "Naturally is based on the level of magic." At this time, Mr. Jinghai stood up and explained, the rules are very simple. As we all know, there are 5 disciplines in our metaphysics. You can choose the category you are good at and choose your opponent to compete. In order to be more formal, the funds are sponsored by the White family. Each contest has a prize of 5 million. Whoever wins will take away 5 million, and the loser will also have 50,000 horses. This rule is reasonable, and money can be made. Many people nodded in agreement. People in the metaphysical circles usually do their own things, and the cards will not be easily revealed. Today, the people who come to the banquet are all capable people in the metaphysical circles. Everyone gathers together to compete. Not only can they find out about each other's details, but also get bonuses and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Just to learn from each other. Charlie sneered slightly. He didn't think that Mr. Jinghai held today's banquet just to prove his prowess. After Solomon White waited for everyone to discuss it, he continued, however, setting up a bonus alone may not arouse everyone's enthusiasm. After all, everyone has a wealth and there is no shortage of these millions. So in order to make everyone more motivated, there is an additional condition, that is, the winner either chooses to take away the 5 million bonus, or take away something from the loser. The one who wins in the end is the first sage in the metaphysical circle of Nangguang area. From now on, all the cult people in Nangguang area will respect him. Anything large and small in the area will be respected with the consent of the person. As soon as he finished speaking, the whole yard was quiet. For a moment, there was a commotion again, and many people showed upset expressions and started talking. What if the challenger chooses a category that the challenged party is not good at? The metaphysical world in Nangguang area respects the first. Isn't this looting for territory? Isn't this funny? In the profound arts world in Nangguang area, we have always been accustomed to our own way. Now it is really nonsense to take orders from others. Besides, there are people who are not from Nangguang, right? There was a lot of discussion among the crowd, and they did not expect that this so-called banquet was actually a hungmen banquet that Mr. Jinghai wanted to dominate the Nangguang Academy. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.